It may sound like a typical story to you, but it's not. Alcohol, cocaine, pot, and then recovery.
I am redeemed. You set me free. So I'll shake off these heavy chains and wipe away every stain. That I'm not who I used to be. I am redeemed.
Good afternoon and welcome to Recovery Monday, brought to you by Powell, CDC. I'm J. Michael McKoy, your co-host. My other co-host is in the house, Lila Stafford, who is a counselor. Just
Yes.
counselor?
Yes.
Okay.
CDC. Well, yeah.
Counselor at CDC, Powell. And Powell is an outpatient program offered here in Des Moines by the health group Unity Point, and it allows you to come in and deal with your alcohol and or drug problem. It has family counseling also, and it allows you to get started again. It's not an inpatient program. It is an outpatient program, so the cost is much less, and you are also able to remain within your regular cycle of your job or your family or taking care of your kids or whatever it is.
But, Mac, we do have inpatient for detox,
Okay.
and sometimes that lasts 1 or 2 weeks.
Okay. Really? Mm-hmm. Wow. I just can't imagine somebody being so physically intoxicated by whatever it is that they need 2 weeks detox. But it happens, huh?
Yes.
All right. Bob Monserrate, the Cat in the Hat, is also here, and our guest today is Annie Mauldin. You've met Annie before. She is also a counselor at Powell CDC and has vast amounts of experience in helping people recognize that they need help, getting them to receive the help, and then caring for them after they get into recovery. And Annie, we appreciate you being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Look forward to hearing some of your story. Now, I want to come over here and take a side note just for a second. Robert, you are on the DMORT team, which is the international team that goes in and unfortunately IDs bodies in a massive tragedy, which we are experiencing right now in the Philippines.
Well, yes.
But you're not going to the Philippines.
We have not been put on alert to go there. I mean, if there was a request that we go, then that certainly could happen. But the country has to request our presence there.
Why wouldn't they?
Well, I think part of it is that there are many people that have died, and it would. And the fact is, I know they're doing mass burials over there. You know, part of our process is to identify people.
Right.
If they're doing mass burials, there's no time or room for identification.
Right.
And so it takes infrastructure, and a lot of that's been destroyed. So you have to have things set up so that you can deal with that, if you even want to try to do that. And if there are, I don't even know what the count is.
I haven't heard.
What it's up to, 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000, I don't know, and it could go higher. So under those circumstances, I think it would be difficult to have a team go in there and try to identify those.
Yeah, they really don't want your services. They want to dispose of the bodies.
Yes, probably just so because there's a fear that it's going to cause disease and kill more people if you don't bury them right away.
Wow. All right. Well, we're glad you're here. Thank you for doing that when you're called upon to do that, but we're glad you're here. All right. Annie Mauldin. Annie, how are you?
Good.
So
I'm doing all right.
Tell me where home is. Is it here in central Iowa?
Yeah, I live in Des Moines, just not far from here.
Born and raised?
I was born in Ames. I lived in Des Moines for a while. I've lived in a few other small towns. And then I lived on the Isle of Palms, right off of the coast of Charleston, South Carolina, when I was a child.
Oh, wow. That was fun.
It was amazing.
Siblings?
I have one sister, Hannah. She is 2 years younger than me.
Okay.
And then I have two stepsisters, Corey and Jessie, and they are each 1 year older than me. Corey's a year older, and Jessie's a year younger.
All right. And do most of those folks live here in Central Iowa?
No, my youngest sister Hannah lives here in Des Moines, and my younger sister Jessie lives in Baltimore, and my older sister Corey lives in Ames.
Wow. All
Yep.
right. And how would you describe your family life growing up? We all come from dysfunctional families, so I don't allow that word. Would you describe it as hectic? Would you describe it as secretive? Would you describe it as a facade? Would you describe it as public drama?
I would describe it as chaotic a little bit. There's always a lot of stuff going on with 4 girls, and we're all 1, 2, 3, 4. We're all a year apart. Whenever we were all in the same house, because they were from my dad's second marriage, his second wife they're my stepsisters, and so weekends at my dad's when it was all 4 of us were crazy.
And at what age did that begin?
My dad and his second wife Angie got together when we would have been like 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of babies.
Yeah.
Nobody in diapers. But,
No.
Wow. All right. I could see. And was there substance abuse with any other, I don't need names, but with any
Sure.
other family members?
Sure. At that age, no.
No, I don't, but.
Oh, or in my life?
No, I meant like in the adults in your life. Your mother, father, stepmother, things like that.
Sure. Yep, there was substance use, and there was definitely some substance abuse on both, like with my mom's side of the family and my dad's side of the family. It was kind of scattered all over the place. Looking back, I can identify it a little bit more, but then it didn't, as far as I could tell, didn't ever really affect us that much.
So you didn't have dad in jail for drunk driving or mom in jail for drunk driving or multiple jobs lost or anything like that. It was just standard status quo.
For the most part, that I can, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
When do you remember, did you start with alcohol or drugs?
I think the first thing I ever did was smoke pot, actually.
How old were you?
12.
12.
Yep.
And who introduced that substance into your life?
I was living in South Carolina, and my best friend, we stole it from her brother and put it in a Kleenex and thought that's what you do, because we probably watched a movie about smoking pot or something. And then
So you rolled your joint in a Kleenex.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Did you light it up?
Oh yeah, we did. And then jumped out a window into a tree and ran away from home. But down there, everything is in like gated communities, and we couldn't get out. We couldn't get out of the gated community because it was like, 11 o'clock at night, and we couldn't find any places to sneak out of.
Why did you want to run away?
Oh, we just wanted to run around. Not like
okay.
That was our version of running away from home. I think we had like done drugs, so that's what you do next
Okay.
is you run away from home.
But you didn't experience any high or anything from that.
I felt like I did, but
Okay.
it might have been the jumping out of a tree, or jumping out of a window into a tree.
Yeah.
Were you like in 6th grade?
Seventh.
Oh, okay.
7th grade, yep. But after that, on the island, there was a few kids that lived right up the road from me, and I knew that they smoked pot. And it's funny because growing up, I always would, I would like guard the other kids while they were smoking cigarettes. I remember being outside of an apartment building, and there was like 6 of them and 1 cigarette. And I just had this idea that, why am I going to smoke cigarettes if it doesn't do anything for you? So I'm going to guard the little dumpster area, and you guys can all smoke your cigarette. And for some reason, I thought alcohol was bad too.
So you never smoked cigarettes?
No, I had never done anything like that. And I just randomly got some pot, had a good time, and then started smoking pot.
And at what point did alcohol enter your life?
Probably right not far after. The way it kind of turned out was my dad and his friend had helped. My dad's a contractor, and he helped build this restaurant, and the restaurant went under.
Okay.
And they couldn't pay all of the money that they owed, and so we got a lot of like kitchen equipment and dining equipment and stuff like that, but also a ridiculous amount of like alcohol, liquor, wine, I don't know. And there was a huge closet full of it, and I never thought anything of it. It just never even occurred to me. And one of my friends opened it and was like,
Wow.
What's going on? Why have we not investigated this so far?
And so do you remember your first taste of liquor? I mean, was it beer? Was it wine? Was it hard liquor?
I think I had like sips here and there as a kid, but I remember I had some Parrot Bay rum, and I just chugged it because, like I said, I just took it off the movies. That's where that's what I thought you did.
And was your first experience of chugging Parrot Bay rum a good one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I jumped off a roof into a pool.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that.
You like to jump out of things,
apparently,
don't you?
I guess so. I never really thought of it until I just said both of those things.
Was it? Was there a danger? I mean, did you like danger? Because you're jumping out of windows into trees and trying to get out of a gated community. You're chugging Parrot Bay rum and jumping out of a window swimming pool.
Yeah.
Or was it to get attention?
Well, we used to jump off the roof all the time into the pool. That was a thing.
Okay.
It wasn't my pool, but that was a thing that we
I'm
did
assuming
all the
this was a
time.
deep end pool.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. It was
My son just did that, and he's 25 years old and 6'7".
And he just did that for the first time?
Yeah, in Vegas, and I saw a picture of him in the air, and I just about died. I mean, he's a swimmer, and he knows better, but I
Right.
couldn't believe it.
right. I don't think it was very high.
Yeah.
I think in my head it was like a really big deal. So I still look at it as like, yeah, I did this, but it was probably like 3 feet. Who knows? I'm dramatic, so.
That's all right. All right. So here's what I'm concluding. I'm concluding that peer pressure was not a real big deal because kids could sit around and smoke and you'd go, I'm not interested in that.
Right.
Loved having fun. You were a fun kid. Okay. And experiment. Fine. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like you had any negative effects on your first usage when you were young. You know, you didn't throw up. You didn't get a headache. None of those things happened from drinking.
Right. Right.
Okay.
I didn't drink much after that either that I can really remember.
Until when?
Until I got into high school.
Okay. So 7th, 8th, and 9th, you were a fairly good girl, and then we got into high school, and here comes Lindsay Lohan.
Right. I smoked weed all throughout that time.
Okay. And didn't your mother or father or stepmother have any idea that this was going on?
No. It's funny looking back. I still did. I think because I was so wild as a child that, smoking pot might have like mellowed me out a little bit, but also it's not like I was a really good kid and then just started doing naughty stuff.
You weren't a good kid before you started doing naughty stuff.
Well, I got good grades and I was like nice most of the time, but I was always like just doing crazy. I had ideas that most people would have been like, that's a terrible idea, don't do that. But I was always doing
Are you
crazy
ADD
stuff.
by chance?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're coming up on our first break. You tell the story very well. You really do.
Thank you.
Lila Stafford from Powell CDC is in the house. Bob Monserrate, the Cat in the Hat. Ryan's producing, and our guest is Annie Mauldin. And we're just about to enter high school with Annie. And I think we're going to see flashbacks of Miley Cyrus. I'm not sure, but we'll find out when we come back. I'm J. Michael McKoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. Love this job. Couldn't do it without you. Right here on webcast1live.com on 99.3 KTIA.
who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community, to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
Get away from us, you mean old credit card. We don't have any more money. We're in trouble now. Save us! Help! Somebody save us! Somebody help! Help! Save us!
Hi, I'm Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of Des Moines. If your credit card's a little too animated, give us a call.
Hooray! We're saved! Consumer Credit, you're our hero!
If you choose to obey the power of sin, it leads to death. If you choose to obey obedience, it leads to righteousness.
Forgiveness is just the beginning of life in Christ. God wants us to live for Him now.
And because of Jesus Christ, the gospel was preached, and you and I are blessed today because of Abraham. Did you know that? We're blessed.
Experience Truth, 99.3 FM.
If Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of America was your personal webmaster, Tom would filter out all bad debt emails. If Tom was your mailman, you'd never get any debt reduction junk mail. If Tom Coates was a lineman, he'd block any phone calls offering to reduce your credit card debt.
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America, and we're still your best choice for credit counseling. We're local, we're accountable, and we can do more. You make the call when the time's right for you.
When it comes to competition, there really is none for Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
21 minutes after the hour on this Recovery Monday, sponsored by Powell CDC. I say this, well, I don't know if I say it too often, but I want to say it again. We don't do this program for you. Chances are you're not a user or abuser, but the chances are high that you know somebody who is. I've said this before. I'll never forget the day I was sitting in church and there was about a row of 10 people, and my pastor said, look down the row, and 2 of you are alcoholics, 1 of you is a drug abuser, 1 of you is having an affair, 1 of you is involved in pornography, and the other 3 of you are terribly depressed, which leaves 2 people normal, and they're so dysfunctional that they fake normal. Meaning, we're all dysfunctional. Some turn to chemicals, drugs, pharmaceuticals to treat that, to change the way we feel. And that's why we do this program, so you can help understand not only are those folks lovable and we can help them, but there's a place called Powell CDC, which is waiting to help you. And Lila is one of the counselors there, as well as Annie. So, Annie, 7th, 8th, 9th grade, you're just kind of smoking pot, hanging out. It sounds to me as if maybe this was a neighborhood of higher income.
That I was living in at the time, yeah.
Yeah.
On the island it was.
And so access to anything you want was probably pretty easy.
Probably.
As far as drugs and alcohol.
Sure.
But you said you really didn't start getting into the alcohol until you got into high school.
Right.
Was that peer pressure at that point then? Because up to this point, you're not really a peer pressure kind of kid.
No. I moved back to Iowa in with my mom right the summer before my high school. So right before 9th grade.
Okay.
And I had drank, on and off, like whenever, when I was younger, before that. And then when I came to Iowa, I didn't know anyone in Des Moines. My youngest sister was here, and so she introduced me to the neighbor girl, and it was right at the beginning of the summer. And when I came here, I had a big bag, like a Ziploc baggie full of pot with me. And I had a bunch of babysitting money that I got, and they paid ridiculous amounts of money for babysitters on the island, and I had saved it for some reason. And it wasn't hard to make friends, I guess. I went to the pool every day, and by the time I started high school, I knew a lot of the kids at my school already.
Did you want to move back here?
No.
What if I can, and you don't have to, you can always say, I'd rather not ask that, and I won't push it. But what transpired that you moved from what sounded like a pretty wonderful, heavenly place to live and play and go to school to back here in Iowa, living with your mother?
I got into trouble.
Okay.
And there wasn't anything, I think it was more of a fear of what I could get into if I went to the high school. Because I went to a middle school where we had to wear uniforms and things like that, and it was quite a bit smaller. But down there, our high schools are enormous. And there's the high school, but then there's, 50 trailers all around the high school to house all the kids.
Okay.
And they looked at it as like, I got into enough trouble living on a tiny island that only has one bridge going on and off. What's going to happen when she goes to a real high school?
Okay.
I'm going to be a terrorist, is what they said.
And bag of pot, bag of money, I'm a terrorist. It's Annie Saddam. So were you angry?
To come back to Iowa?
Yeah.
Yep, I did not want to come.
Because you came alone? None of your other sisters came with you?
No, none of my sisters were down there with me.
Okay.
By that time, my dad had divorced his second wife.
Okay.
And she had my stepsisters. And my little sister stayed in Iowa with my mom. And so I moved down there by myself.
So when you came back, your little sister was here?
Yeah.
All right. And what high school did you go to?
Roosevelt.
Oh, the Rough Riders.
Yeah.
That wasn't exactly the tamest place to get shoved into, was it?
Right. No, it was not.
Now, I don't know you very well, but I have this sense that you probably said, listen, you're going to drag me out of paradise and put me here in high school in Iowa. I'm going to raise all the hell I want and see what you can do about it.
Yeah, that is probably exactly what I said.
Okay.
And that's the place to do it.
Yep.
That's where I got started, too.
Roosevelt?
Absolutely.
But when, I think this is obvious, you're older than Annie, probably mother-daughter difference.
Like 5 years difference.
Oh, yeah.
5 years? You wear your age well.
Thank you.
But Roosevelt was not a tough school back then.
No.
It was a really, and it still is a good school. I mean, it's not like East.
It's more like Valley and Waukee are now.
Yeah. Because the people that went to Roosevelt came from South of Grand and that area. That was a pretty well-to-do area. So when you got into high school, how did Annie change? How did Annie, the kid in the island girl, change to Annie, the teenage high school student at Roosevelt?
That's actually a really good. That's a good description of what it was. Is because I moved when I came back to Iowa. It was not my choice. I did not want to come here. I didn't know anybody at the school, and I just felt like, really, okay, you're gonna make me do this. Watch what happens. And I had never really had much malice or any kind of I've always had a mean streak. Yeah, but I just was angry.
Does that mean streak come from mom or dad?
I don't know.
Okay. Who was easier to live with, your mom or your dad? I mean, did you come back to rules, or did you come back to, oh, my baby girl's home?
Yeah. She doesn't. No, I came back to rules, rules, rules. And I'm not the only child anymore. And I'm not living in a community where I can run around and everyone, it's a safe, place where everyone knows. There weren't that many children on the island, and so it was a lot safer. They didn't have to worry about me as much unless it was of my own doing.
Okay. So your father had gotten divorced, and so he didn't want to deal with you anymore.
No, he got divorced before that.
Okay.
No.
Okay. All right. So you come back to Des Moines, and the drinking starts.
Yeah.
And is this a daily drinking, or is this just the weekend party girl?
Well, my mom was in recovery, and so I didn't drink as often unless I was at my best friend's house, because it was hard to come by alcohol. It wasn't in my house.
Okay.
Pot wasn't hard to come by because drug dealers don't ID you.
Okay.
Gas station clerks do.
Okay.
And so I would drink with my friends, like when we were at their house, would steal it from their parents, but it was always accompanied with smoking pot.
Okay. So would you say that pot was your gateway drug?
Yeah.
So tell me the first time something bad happened. By your measurement.
Right. I would say that the first time I was arrested.
And how old were you? Still in high school?
15, yeah.
And
15.
what were you arrested for?
I think it was shoplifting or something like that.
When you shoplifted, did you do it out of to get attention? Did you need what you were shoplifting? I mean, did you not have the money to buy what you needed?
No. I was just with some girls at the mall.
Okay.
I think that's the first time, but I can't...
Well, how many times have you been arrested?
Well, I'm not sure.
Okay. That's a fair answer.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I got put on probation, and it was supposed to be informal, no big deal probation. But the problem was that somebody tipped them off that I may or may not smoke pot, so they were dropping UAs on me.
Okay.
And I couldn't pass a clean UA to save my life.
Okay.
And I would cheat on them all the time, and that never worked. And
when you cheat on them, what do you mean?
I would take, like, supplements. Like, I would take vitamins that they told me would clean my system out, and all it did was make me itchy.
Yeah, and I don't... Is there anything out there that actually does wipe out a UA, a dirty UA?
I'm not aware of any.
Okay, yeah.
Because they can check for that stuff now, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so did you ever get kicked out of school?
Yeah. Yep.
Suspended?
Yeah.
How about you had to leave school for good and go to a different high school?
No, that never happened. I mean, I'm sure I was on the verge of it. What happened was that they would pick me up. My mom called me a weekender at the local baby jail because they would pick me up for something stupid that I'd been doing or didn't drop a UA, or one time my tracker had pulled me out of this house, this like drug house, and she came down and yanked me out of and I was like 15 with a bunch of people, and they were like, "Who's this old lady?" And she was probably like 26, 27, I don't know. But who's this lady here? And she was like, "Annie, come on." And just somehow she found me and just walked into the house, into the basement, pulled me out, took me to baby jail. But because I was enrolled in school, and at that time I was still a good student, they always let me out and put me back in school.
By Monday morning.
Yep.
You said, and I don't want names, but you said that somebody kept turning you in for using drugs when you're on probation.
Yeah.
Do you know who that somebody was?
Yeah, it was my mom.
It was your mom.
Yeah.
So, okay. Wow.
This is why you are good at working with young kids. You know all the tricks.
Yeah.
You know what they're going through.
Well, and all she did was tell him the first time, like, "Hey, you might want to drop a UA on her." And then from there, I couldn't drop clean UAs, and they would put me in treatment, and I would get kicked out for, trying to do something bad or being loud. Or
You and Lila, let's talk for a second like Annie's not in the room. She's really smart, isn't she?
Yes.
I mean, as a kid, as a teenager, this is terrorism for parents.
Well, for the parents, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't seem like she has any remorse. It seems that there's that getting in jail and picked up and UAs and out of school, that's fun to her. Mm-hmm. What feeds that? Is it the anger of rebellion?
For her, I think it was her ADHD. I really do, because it.
Just got bored.
Yeah, and you need excitement. You have to have that to I don't know. You just have to have it. So you create it. If it's not there, you create it. Drama. Even though you don't like the consequences of it, you create it.
What usually happens to someone like Annie? I mean, we're going to find out what happened to Annie when we come back, but what usually happens to somebody like Annie?
Depends.
Do they just burn through every relationship?
Well, a lot of they end up in jail. I mean, a lot of our people that are in prison today are people just like that. But she came from a good family that wanted her to turn around, and she's smart enough and had the opportunity to turn herself around.
All right, we'll hear what happened and then what her life is like now. And one of the things that Annie said earlier that I really want to talk to her about is she said, you're going to have a lot of fun in recovery. And a lot of people don't think you can. A lot of people think life's over once you stop using or abusing. And Annie's going to share with us how there's a lot of fun out there in life when you're in recovery, when you're clean and you're sober. I'm J. Michael McKoy. We'll come back. It's Recovery Mondays, brought to you by Powell CDC on 99.3 KTIA.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershad.
I'm administrative manager.
I am the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotta be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're gonna do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's gonna be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're gonna do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you gonna say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're gonna be listening. They're gonna wanna know what your challenges are. Then they're gonna come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though, I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm gonna take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
Enough said.
It's Recovery Monday, live from Powell CDC and the studios of webcast1live.com. Our guest is Annie Mauldin, and not a typical kid. Not a typical kid at all. Started smoking pot in the 7th grade, started drinking about the same time, but the alcohol didn't mean much to her, but she loved Mary Jane. And she also had a wild streak in her, and I would also add to that an ornery streak. Mm-hmm. And you kind of were fearless.
Yeah.
You really didn't care if you got in trouble.
No. I think it was more of ignorance.
Then
I just always was surprised when they came to get me.
All right. So tell me, you got arrested for shoplifting. Tell me the thing that turned you around. How old were you and what happened?
I ended up sobering up when I was 16. And
so you've been sober since you were 16?
Yes.
Okay.
And the thing that happened was I went to a few outpatient treatment centers. They didn't really work. I didn't care. Got kicked out of them. A few months before I got sober, I did cocaine. And for me, I fell in love real quick.
Okay.
And turned into a little monster.
Okay.
And got sent to treatment.
All right, now turned into a little monster. I don't. You're going to have to define that. I mean, were you angry?
No. At that point, I just wouldn't go to school, and I would just do whatever I wanted.
What did the cocaine do to you? Because the pot mellowed you out, made you a little ornery. Alcohol was blah blah blah. But what did the cocaine do?
It was more of like made me super focused and like excited, even if it was staring at the TV or the wall or whatever it was like, I'm on it.
And
that's why ADD, if you have ADD, one of the questions, or ADHD, one of the questions that they ask you is, have you ever done cocaine? It basically doesn't do anything to you. I mean, it makes most people excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can remember doing it and snorting like 4 lines of it and nothing happened.
Right.
It was like no big deal.
Yeah, and the guy that had it was really mad because I'd taken so much of his.
Right.
Where did the money come from for this? I mean, you weren't babysitting anymore.
Right, no. Hope not. No, I worked at a grocery store for a while. I worked at a gas station. I worked at a donut shop.
All right, so you paid your own way.
Yeah.
Mama's not writing the checks. Dad's not writing the checks.
No.
Okay. And so you got into cocaine, 16 years old, you went to treatment, didn't make any difference. What did make a difference? What finally turned Annie around? What woke you up?
Well, it was I had gone to treatment twice before that, didn't care, whatever. I did cocaine for a few months. My drug dealer did an intervention on me, wouldn't give me any more cocaine. And I was like, what? It's for my friends. And he was like, something bad is going to happen to you. And, that didn't even faze me. Like, when your drug dealer tells you to stop doing drugs, you might have a problem. And at that point, like, a few days later, I got shipped off to a treatment center. And this treatment center was based on the 12 steps.
Okay.
And that is what changed it for me.
Did you have a spiritual awakening?
I did.
Okay.
And what the deal was is my PO and my tracker put me in a car, and they put me in the back seat with childproof locked doors. And I was sitting in the back crying and screaming and, doing whatever, threatening them probably. And for some reason, I got this thought of, there are probably people that don't like you and want to hurt you. Maybe getting out of town is not going to be so bad.
Okay.
And I just had this thought of, this might not be so bad. Because my dad used to always say, he would tell me, you're going on vacation. You're going to go on vacation. It was like a joke, And I had this thought of, maybe it will be. I won't have to worry about all this stuff anymore. And then I went back to screaming and threatening and whatever. But I had that just moment of, everything's going to be okay.
And so you went through how long? 4 weeks?
No, I was in treatment for 6 months.
Wow.
It was a year program.
Okay.
But when I got there, I don't know why, but I was just honest about everything.
They didn't have to break you down or anything.
No, I was broken.
Okay. And so in 6 months, you got out.
Yeah.
Describe for me, when you went in, you were rebellious. They had to do an intervention on you. You absolutely was a scofflaw. You didn't care what the law said. Fearless. And that girl that came out at age 16 after 6 months, describe her for me.
I was terrified to come back to Des Moines because all my friends, like, my life with them was partying and having fun and doing stuff. And I had good friends who, on more than one occasion, would say, "You're out of control." You know, that really did love me. But all I knew was how to be who I was. And I had learned to be different and to find other things that I enjoyed in my life when I was down in Burlington, but I didn't know if I would be able to bring that back up with me because all the kids that I got sober with weren't going to be here.
Right.
And who was I going to have fun with?
Right.
Who was I going to go to the mall with and hang out with? Because when I was in treatment, I actually graduated high school. So I graduated at 16, and because I was too afraid to go back to my high school. So I graduated at 16 and had enrolled in a few college courses and didn't know anything about college and just knew what I saw on TV and did not know how I was going to deal with that if I wanted to stay in recovery.
Did you pick up any of the old playmates?
Like go and hang out with them again?
Yeah, the people that you used to do drugs and party with?
On and off.
Okay.
But the ones that I have been in contact with since then, and I'm close friends with a few of them today, but they're not normal. They're normal. They didn't do the things that I did. Or if they did, it was like one time they ever did that in their life.
What do you do for fun now?
Now I do a lot of the same things that I did when I was younger. They just aren't as illegal or illegal.
As illegal. So you don't drink or you don't do drugs.
Right.
But you're still a little ornery?
Yep.
Yeah?
That's a thing in my life.
And how old are you now?
25.
25, okay.
Yep.
And so a typical weekend is hanging out with friends. Can you go to a place where alcohol's being served and you just don't drink?
Sure.
Okay, so you can resist that.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you have to be completely 100% clean and sober to maintain the quote-unquote program that you are on? Does that make sense to you?
To be sober?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to be clean and sober all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when someone 16, 15 sits before you in a room because you're a drug counselor and they say, man, my fun's all going to be gone. I'm going to lose all my friends. There's going to be nothing to do. What do you say to them?
Well, you came to the right place. Or you have absolutely no idea what you're in for.
Because that actually happened a couple weeks ago because there was a guy in our group that was scared that he was never going to have fun again, and you said, "Okay, just listen to what I did this weekend," and you described your weekend.
Right.
It was really fun, and his eyes just. Oh.
Right.
And what had you done that past weekend?
I mean, on any given weekend, now I work weekends, and I just lose sleep, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I go out, it's really awesome because recovery in Des Moines is huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely huge. There are parties every weekend for people having 1 year sobriety. 17-year-olds getting 2 years of sobriety.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. There's always parties going on, barbecues, stuff like that. It is not uncommon for, you to drive by my house and see 5 people sitting on my porch on a random Tuesday night because people just show up.
Annie Mauldin is our guest. When we come back for our last break, the lifestyle that she lives now that is clean, sober, and safe, and how you can have that same thing or someone you love can have the same thing by following her simple program. We're coming back live here on KTIA, Iowa.
A father mother who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community, to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. 10 minutes before the top, Salem Radio Network News, and then Pastor Michael Mudloff with True Blue from Westkirk Presbyterian Church. We've been talking with a young lady here whose drug and alcohol abuse and use started very young, 6th, 7th grade. I think if I think right, that's like 9 years old.
No, I was 12.
12, okay.
7th grade.
Here's one of the messages I want you to get, and I need your permission to tell you something you don't want to hear. Are you ready? Grandma, this could be your granddaughter. Mom, this could be your daughter. Do not think for one reason at all that this couldn't be someone that loves you or that you love. The facade is so easily adapted to by those people who know how to manipulate, who know how to say the things that need to be said to get out of the trouble that they know they could get in. Smiles, I love you, Daddy. Don't worry, I'm fine. Sally and I are never going to do anything like that, Mommy. I don't remember what movie it is. It's probably been in more movies than I realize, but the two teenage girls leave the house and they're dressed just properly for school and everything, and they like get into the car and the clothes come whipping off, and underneath they're not dressed the way their parents would want them to dress. The message I want you to hear is please don't be naive, and please don't fall into that trap that my daughter's a good little Christian girl and she goes to KQ and Power Life and Sunday school, and oh, this just isn't a part of her. It is around her and him every day, everywhere. This is our society. It's available to anyone at any price, and sometimes a price that doesn't equate to dollars and cents, but it equates to terrible, terrible physical and emotional and sexual abuse among young women and young boys. So swallow hard, keep your eyes open, and pay attention to what your kids and your grandkids are saying and doing. Annie, tell us about how much fun recovery is.
I have a blast. I have a blast in recovery. Des Moines is great for it, and we do all the same things. We go to movies together. We have dinner. We make dinner. We go to concerts. We go on road trips. We stay up all night and watch old terrible movies or whatever it is. We do all the same things.
I just have to ask because I'm older than you. What is an old terrible movie?
I just said terrible because I didn't really know what else to say. But last movie marathon I had was Boondock Saints, and they're my favorite.
Okay.
So.
Because I would say an old terrible movie would be an old Betty
Davis.
Betty Davis.
Yeah, that would be me too.
That would be an old terrible movie. Okay, go. Do you even know who Betty Davis is?
No.
Okay, that's all right. Go ahead. Fun in recovery for Annie.
So we do all the same things that we did before. They just aren't as illegal. Or we stay up late. We will drink energy drinks. Some people might chain smoke. We might do our nails or get ready to go to a concert together or go to weddings. Celebrate. We celebrate our lives now.
Okay.
And we get to have my college graduation party there was a lot of people there. Most of them were not related to me because there were so many people there who are in recovery that watched me go through college and were proud of me and excited for me. And we celebrated that together. We celebrate babies being born and weddings and all that stuff.
So what's the future hold for Annie? I mean, you're 26 years old.
25.
I'm sorry, I just aged her. Yeah. Shut up, Bob. You haven't started a family yet. Is that in the plan someday?
Well, I have a bulldog and a cat and a nephew, and they keep my hands full. Maybe later, after a while, but I'm young, and I feel like I just want to do as many things and explore as many places and move around and do as many things as I can.
Do you see you being involved in the professional side of recovery like you are now and like Lila is? Do you see that for the rest of your life?
Sure. If that's where I'm supposed to go, like right now, if I were to look into the future, that's probably what I see. But I also know that I don't have any idea of what is in store for me.
What kind of relationship, when you were going through the 12 steps, what was your higher power?
It was just God. I grew up around AA, 12-step groups. I mean, I grew up around that stuff. I had always known that everyone had different beliefs.
But yours was not a religious higher power. Yours
No.
was a spiritual higher power.
Yeah, it was just whatever. Whatever worked for me is what my parents told me when I was a kid. But know that you are not the biggest, you're not that big of a deal. There's something bigger than you.
But you didn't listen to him.
No, never.
Never.
But that probably stuck with me a little bit.
Because my guess is you used to think you were the center of attention.
Yeah, and I usually made myself that way, so.
Are you that way now?
I mean, I can get there probably if I let my ego
Okay.
get in the way.
Before we leave, I want you to look into this camera over here, and if you're watching, you'll see her beautiful eyes, and if you're just listening, hear the tone of her voice. I want you to tell something to that mom out there who's naive and who doesn't think that their child is using or abusing alcohol or drugs.
To any parent who's wondering, I would say call somewhere, talk to somebody about it. Because if they're not, that's fine. And you'll have learned a lesson and you're going to ease whatever is on your heart. But if they are, there's so much out there. And it's not going to put a dark cloud over your family if you have a kid that goes to treatment or a kid that needs help. It's not. It will absolutely change things if that's the problem. And if it's not, then you really didn't do any harm by calling and asking.
Thanks, Annie. I appreciate it. Lila, what do we need to do to protect parents from the bitter shame of what Annie just said, that, oh no, I've got a child who's they can't even say it. No, they can't even say it.
Well, a lot of my experience has been that a lot of the parents don't want to look at the kids because they don't want to look at themselves. They have a drinking problem themselves and they don't want to look at it. That comes up quite often. And the other thing is once you're in a program, you you will. It changes the entire family. It's a family disease. Everyone is affected.
Right.
And so you learn how to take care of yourself, and it doesn't hurt anybody. It actually helps everyone grow.
Lila Stafford, Powell, CDC, and Annie Mauldin, Powell, CDC. Bob Monserrate.
Yeah, got it.
Big, fat liar, embarrasser of Mac. We'll see you tomorrow with Tom Coates. Craig Robinson will be my guest. And until then, do me just one favor, would you? Just pray.